when them niggas came and took my bank account, like, nigga, I had 6 figures in there. I just used to like sit and look at the money every day. Like, I watched my shit go from 10 grand to 50 to 100 to 200 to 300 to 400 to 500, and I didn't know shit about investments. I didn't know shit about stocks. Like,
was it a business account?
It was a business account.
You knew how to make money though.
I knew how to make it, but I didn't know what to do with it at the time.
How did you feel? Because we've had plenty of people on the show that kind of discussed like when they started making that type of money and how it was like, it almost made them nervous.
It did, absolutely. Because it was new to me. Like, I don't come from money, you know.
Right.
I don't come from poverty, but you know, my parents never had seen that type of money, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
I didn't know what to do with it. Like, I just used to look at it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I mean.
Did you have a fear of it ending? Some people don't spend.
No, and the crazy shit is it did, because they took all the shit from me.
Right.
And I had to like literally start from scratch. I mean, I had cash on the side, but the bank account they took, like, and I didn't even know about the Rico. So the day I got out and I called Tip, like, he like, yo, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And he like, yo, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I'm straight, my bank account. He like, bro, they hit you with the Rico. You need to go check your bank account. I went online, went to Bank of America, that shit said 0.00. Yo, I broke down in tears, my nigga.
We all would.
That shit went from 6 figures to 0. They took everything and they kept it all. And then basically the law that they said they got me on was the true name law, which means when you, if you sell any music, you have to have an address on the back of it. So if you remember CDs back in the day, like from the labels, they all had.
Boulevard,
they would all have the labels.
Santa Monica.
They would all have the labels address. You know, I had black. It was black covers, so we didn't have. I didn't know to put an address on the back of it. So that was what they got me on.
That's how they janked your bank account.
Address.
And they kept everything.
Their lawyers are some ill
Address.
They said the true name law, and I didn't have an address on the back of the CDs.
I could never figure that out.
That's how they kept my shit.
Were you scared to restart after that? Seeing 0-0, you had some
I wasn't.
cash?
You know what? And thankfully I had motivational people around me, and them niggas made me more famous than I ever was. Like, I remember the Super Bowl that year was in Miami, and like, people knew who DJ Drama was, like, if you was into hip hop. When I walked down Collins Ave, because literally this happened in January,
right?
And then the Super Bowl was 2-3 weeks later.
February.
Like, bro, like, the type of attention I was getting, and, you know, it wasn't just niggas who was in the mixtapes. Like, everybody knew who I was. Like, I wound up, like, Billboard 6 months earlier told me, you know, they asked me to do something for them, and I was like, if you put me on the cover, and they was like, we don't put DJs on the cover. After the raid, Billboard said, hey, if you give us the exclusive, we'll give you the cover. I wound up on the cover of Billboard magazine. Like, it made me, Atlantic called me like, yo, how quick can you get your album done? Like, you can't pay for this type of publicity.
Wow.
So, you know, it made me hotter than ever.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I'm such a student, I come from the cloth so much that like I literally felt guilt that a culture that I grew up and I was raised on was about to die on my shoulders. You feel me? Like, like watching, like thinking about like Brucey B and Kid Capri and Lovebug Starsky and Clue and Ron G and Doo-Wop and SNS and Tony Touch and Who Kid and Green and all these guys and Slay.
Right after that, he started straight stunting.
And
right after that.
Yeah, and Vlad went to Vlad TV, straight stunting.
Everybody got out of Dodge.
Everybody got out of Dodge.
Clinton Sparks went and did something else.
Who said he saw it coming?
Yeah, at the mixtape game, that was the day the game changed. And I felt like, damn, like, I can't let this shit die on my shoulders. Like, this is a culture I grew up loving, and when I become the top of the food chain, I gotta take the blame for like
killing it,
for killing mixtapes. Like that shit ate me up inside.
You know when it hurt me? when I saw the video of your Maserati on the flatbed, I was like, how the fuck he got a Mazzy? Oh, we got to get in this game, man. I said, these are some scum niggas. You ever got that car back?
He didn't keep it.
I know it's back in it. Did they ever give you?
I never got that car back.
Yo, these cunts.
He didn't keep it.
I never got that car
So
back.
you're at 0.
Yeah, I still had some cash.
Right.
But I was at 0.
But what was the next call?
Atlantic called.
Atlantic trying to get the album together.
Craig Kalman, Julie Greenwald, Kevin Lyles, and Mike Kaiser all called me and said, how quick can we get an album done? So
how much bread did they throw at you?
Well, basically, I had two. They took 2 accounts.
Right.
So they took my Drama Like the DJ account, and then I had another account which was my label budget. They gave that back. So they gave back the label money, and we were able to, put the album together and make the album. And my bookings went up after that.
What was the next? What was the next project that you dropped after that?
The first, interestingly enough, I think the first tape I did after the raid, the last tape I did before the raid was Jim Jones' 7-Day Theory. That was the last tape I did, because that was what I was in the Mozzie listening to. But the first tape I did, I think, was Briscoe, if I'm not mistaken. But the biggest tape that I did, and then I did Gangsta Grill's 16. I did Gangsta Grill's 16, which was just just to show that I was not giving up on mixtapes.
Right.
And I put that out. Then I did 17, like preliminary before the album. But the biggest tape probably after the raid was Dedication 3. I think that was the one. And we did that in 08 because I say on that tape, yo, this is y'all remember, this will be the first mixtape you listen to when we had a black president. So literally that tape had to come out November 08 or something like that.
How long did it take to get the money back?
2008 for sure.
Make the money back, I should say. They didn't give it back to you.
It took me a couple years. I mean, I was able to still see money. I mean, I was getting money from the label for my albums. I was doing a lot of gigs. I had got off the road with T.I. I stopped DJing for him around that era, which was, kind of happened. It really wasn't like I chose to.
He
was kind of
distanced.
Well, what happened was me and Jeezy were going through our situation.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Tip chose to, listen, I'm gonna go this direction. And it is what it is. We're all brothers to this day. So,
right.
And at the time there was somebody on my team that was a little reckless, and so
Who was that?
I ain't even gonna say his name, but
Gotta ask.
he added fuel to the fire at the time. And so I understood the decision. But it also, I was making what? $1,250, $1,500 as Tip's DJ. And then when I started my own gigs, I started to be able to charge $5, $75s, 10 grands. And, I started to I was booked all the time. I was working every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so.
Now, the only thing that made me ask, I know people who, I've known rappers who lost their rap book and never rapped again. You lost a whole bank account. I can see a lot of people just, okay, that's enough. This obviously wasn't meant for me. That's enough for that.
My nigga, for me, listen, man, I watched Puff go through the situation, the celebrity basketball game. I watched other executives or artists get knocked down. So when I started doing interviews and everyone wanted to ask me about that, I knew at the time, I was like, yo, this is not gonna define me. This is just one chapter in my story. You know what I'm saying? I knew then, I'm gonna accomplish enough that I got to a point, it's a generation out here that don't even know about the raid. You feel me?
Right.
Know a lot about DJ Drama. I talk to people to this day, they're like, what? You got arrested for mixtapes? Like, when did this happen? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, I knew then, like, yo, the real challenge of success is getting knocked down and how you deal with adversity. And, you know, the gift and the curse of my name is that I've had various dramas in my career, and I've had various times when you could say I don't want to say knocked down, but when my back is against the wall, and I've prevailed through them all.
It's hot for trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars, I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work, you heard. Making fiends leave earth, you heard. Got your baby mama thirst, you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to surf, you heard.